Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toy Escapades channel in Malaysia. Now, if you checked out the short video that I put up on the channel last Saturday, I talked about the emergence of these bootleg Robocop figures right now in Malaysia. Well, I mean, it's turning up here in Malaysia. It may be turning up all over the world too, maybe all across Asia as well. A bunch of online sellers have been listing these things up. I guess there's a supplier somewhere that's actually releasing the figures. I don't know where these things came from because there's no manufacturer's information on the cards. But these are bootlegs, but they appear to be very well made bootlegs and also vintage inspired bootlegs because these knockoffs are actually taken directly from the molds of the 1993 Toy Island run of Robocop figures, specifically 3 of the electronic Robocop figures that Toy Island put out that year. Well, these obviously do not have any of the electronics, okay, which is a shame, right? Now, I don't know if those Toy Island figures are pretty hard to come by these days. I haven't looked into Robocop in a while. But one thing that I will say I do find amusing is the fact that they went with the original title of the character on the card, this being a bootleg. They just stuck with Robocop. They don't even give a shit about the copyright issue, okay? Does it even exist? I don't know. I assume Robocop is still a franchise that's owned by a movie property somewhere, right? So, what is it? Sony Columbia? Anyway, this thing just goes with Robocop. It doesn't use Robo Officer or Robo Enforcer or anything like that. They don't even care about Robocop maybe coming after them. But it says here, okay, yeah, Robocop. And this version is actually the version of Robocop with the docking stand. It's kind of like, NECA did the docking chair release recently. This one is not really a chair, it's more of a stand, but it's cool. And, it also says here that this thing comes with a weapon arm, M16 assault rifle. It seems that the package doesn't come with any of these things. All right, those are just replicated from everything else. But there's streaks here. All right, streaks look like blurbs that, in fact, I think originally appeared on the Toy Island packages. These were supposed to contain like wordings, and they just erased it, and all you're left with is just the yellow backdrop. But we're gonna rip this guy open, okay? Because I just want to see just how good this bootleg is. Now, on the back of the card here, there's an image of a bunch of Robocops, okay, that you don't get with this set. But it says here, Robocop action figures are available in 3 exciting sizes. Wow, it seems to be marketing a completely different line of Robocop figures. But probably from Toy Island as well, but just not in this particular scale or series that you're seeing here with this bootleg. I gotta say though that super large 12-inch, I think that's 12-inch, the giant looking Robocop that we see here, that looks fantastic. I wouldn't mind owning something like that today, okay? How about it? Okay, how about we get a re-release of that particular Robocop? Now, to give you guys an idea of what we're dealing with here, this is the original packaging shot of the Toy Island 1993 electronic Robocop release. As you can see, the packaging design on this particular figure is exactly the same as what the bootleg is replicating, although this represents a different figure entirely because it comes with different accessories. Yet, this version was also released as a bootleg. If you saw the short video that I put out on Saturday, there were 3 bootleg versions that was released. This version was one of them as well. And you know what? If this video does well, I'll probably get around to reviewing the rest of the bootlegs as well, so you can do a comparison. But obviously, as mentioned here, this thing is electronic. The original was supposed to make sounds. It says here, rat-tat-tat. I can guarantee you that none of these figures are going to go rat-tat-tat. Okay, right? They're not going to start shooting sounds and anything like that from any of the accessories. But yeah, it's just interesting to see that something from 1993, like a mold, right, from way back when, nearly 3 decades ago, is now circulating in present day. Now, this is a photo of the original toy release of the bootleg that we're reviewing here today. It was originally supposed to be the Robocop with recharging repair station. Okay, that's what this thing is, a repair station. It's kind of cool that you're getting a figure and like a base, like a base accessory kind of thing. And yeah, this thing is supposed to make, originally, it's supposed to make sounds like beep, bzz, whir, okay. Sadly, the bootleg will not be able to replicate those sounds. Sure would like to hear how this thing sounds like. Beep, 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 bzz, bzz, whir. That's why it says here on the card, the original card. I find it curious though that, instead of just saying press to hear sounds, it says something like, just touch him, okay? You see that arrow there? It's like they're just thinking that, you guys don't believe us, just touch him. Okay, anyway, this is what the original figure looked like. I can already see some key differences that the bootleg may have improved on, but let's find out. Out of the package, and I gotta say for real, guys, I am honestly taken aback by just how good this looks. All right, this looks really good. Now, of course, owing to the top quality nature of this sculpt is the fact that this is taken off directly from the Toy Island mold, and I never actually realized it. But Toy Island was putting out some pretty damn good looking figures, right? I mean, back in the 90s, my vintage era go-to toys for Robocop were always the Kenner Parker line. I pretty much ignored the Toy Island stuff, until I actually see the work that's being done here. And, this particular bootleg does not skimp on any of the details of the original. You see this thing? I don't know, man. I might just end this review by heading over to eBay and start looking for some Toy Island classic Robocop lots. But yeah, I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing here. Now, when it comes to the articulation on the figure, there's no movement at all where the head is concerned. The head is just locked in one particular spot. That's because the original mold for this figure actually had the electronics worked into the chest. So that also means that there's no movement at all at the waist. Okay, the waist is just rigid like that. Okay, can't do anything with it. However, the arms do move up and down. That's good because he needs to start shooting things, okay, and people. So there's wrist articulation here, right here, the arm. That's interesting. This side doesn't turn. In fact, this side comes out. Okay, look at that. This arm section here just comes out. I believe that this mold is actually supposed to be for one of the Robocops that has the interchangeable arm. I believe, taken off from Robocop 3, the movie. So you're getting a bonus there, all right? Articulation there at the hips and also the knees, right? This is really nice. A lot of classic figures don't have articulation at the knees. In fact, a lot of the 5-inch scale figures these days can't turn at the wrist or even the knees. Okay, now, on the back of this figure is what we find to be the original battery compartment. All right, it's still there. Okay, there's a screw for it there. You can actually remove the screw and remove this section, this whole plate there, but there's nothing inside. There's no battery ports or anything like that. It's all been taken out. But it's interesting that they retained the sculpt for it. Okay, so much of this thing is actually directly lifted off the original Toy Island mold. I really need to get one of those in hand, actually. Okay, but you're getting a really high quality bootleg here. What can I say? Right. Okay, now Robocop's handgun, the Robogun. Now this thing is white, but I believe that we saw from the photo of the original that it was supposed to be black. Okay, anyway, it's just a fun variant. I actually really like the scale of this gun because if you were to refer back to the original handgun that came with the Kenner Robocop, especially the Wave 1 Kenner Robocop, that thing was just ridiculously oversized. It wasn't even movie accurate. So this thing actually looks really nice. Okay, gun in hand. Robocop. Alright, looks good. Okay, I have to say that, you want this small, tiny, roughly 4 to 5 inch scale representation of him in action figure form, you're basically getting it, right? In case the old Kenner figures are too hard to find, this is a pretty good substitute. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Okay, now we got him next to his recharging station, and I have to say that I was actually really surprised by just how sturdy this recharging station is. Okay, it's solid. It's not flimsy at all. Okay, it's hard. Right? What do you know? In most cases, the plastic that's used, especially on bootleg knockoff toys, accessories or whatever, the plastic is just like, really soft, and it kind of feels like, the gel bottle kind, all right? Like, the material that's used for a shampoo bottle or container. But this one, man, it is tough. It is hard. Right? If you throw this thing at somebody, it's going to hurt. So the other thing that's interesting about it is that it does have colors that are not on the original. If you were to refer back to the photo from earlier, you can see that the original recharging station is just a blank slate. Okay, there's like no colors to it at all. It's just pale. Okay, it's nothing exciting. But the one that you're getting with this bootleg applies some new colors. You see how on the panels here of the station, there's colors like red, there's purple cables going through it. There's also a splash of yellow here. It just looks more dynamic. So this in itself is a variant. You know what I'm saying? You put this alongside the Toy Island one and you'll be like, hey, I mean, is this like exclusive or something? Now, what you can do with Robocop is just kind of like have him just stand on the platform of the station, and it looks like he's getting some recharging done, like an oil change or something like that. It's like some R&R for him. It looks good. I mean, I suppose if you had the original one from Toy Island, you'd have basically the same feeling as well looking at this thing. But this is an alternative that apparently comes with some variant colors as well, and what I believe is of the same quality in terms of its plastic and the materials that were used, except for the fact that it doesn't have the electronics. Okay, that's the only thing. But as far as bootlegs go, man, I gotta tell you, this is one of the best that's out there in the market for stuff like this. Okay, guys, now to conclude the video, I still don't know where this thing came from or how it's suddenly making its circulation in the market, like something like 3 decades after it was originally released. But I find it somewhat fascinating in the fact that I don't expect knockoffs to be of such high quality. I don't really expect to see knockoffs of classic vintage products from way back, from the 90s. Okay, it's just like such an amazing time for me. And seeing this stuff back in circulation, man, it brings back some memories. And I gotta say that anybody that's a Robocop toy collector, if you enjoy the classic molds, this is highly recommended. Do check it out if you can. Look for it online and stuff like that. If it turns out, just check out the video. And also leave me your thoughts and comments below. Thank you, and I'll catch you guys again real soon with more content.